Okay, let's try this one now. Okay, so today we'll wrap up an entire semester before we very odd. First, though, some announcements. RPP, remember, you got to do 3 credit hours for our class. If you haven't done that, there's an RPP alternative assignments that I'm sure the GSIs have told you all about. So do one of those. You got to do 3 hours by Friday, and make sure you allocate credit to Psych 130. So doing the experiments is not enough. You've got to go on Experimetrics and actually allocate 3 of those credit hours to our class. So I know that you did it. What happens if you don't do RPP? Well, I won't give you a grade. So you will have to do either the RPP or the alternative in order for me to release your grade to you. So do that, and then your section paper is due on December 11th, 5 p.m. in the boxes that are labeled by GSI name, time, date, outside of 3336 Tolman. I'm sure you've heard that 100 times too. So something you haven't heard about. Actually, you have heard about this 100 times. How many people have to take exam 4? That's right. Thank you, Janelle. Everybody has to take it, okay? And it's this Thursday, 2 days from today, December 5th, is our exam. The good news is it's our last exam. The bad news is it's an exam. The good news is it's not a final exam. It just covers the last 3 chapters. So it's just like the last 3 exams that you had. So bring the green Scantron. Remember, we switched at exam 2 to the green Scantron. Bring one of those with you. And here's, these are posted in the slides on BSpace, but here's what's not covered on the exam. Lots of the focus on discovery boxes in all the chapters. And then in the chapter on children and childhood disorders, there's a chunk of that chapter that's not covered, the section on learning disabilities and intellectual disability, that's not covered on the exam. And then in the last chapter, 16, on legal and ethical issues, the last part of that chapter on the ethical issues is not covered on the exam. You're, of course, welcome to read it, but that's not covered. I'm not going to ask you about the specific name case, the Donaldson case, the Jackson case, all those things in chapter 16 either. So this is, I see some of you taking pictures, this is posted on BSpace. The essay questions, so they're going to be 3, you choose 2, just like the last exam. What are they going to cover? Well, one of them's going to cover the case of Richie, the little fellow who has autism spectrum disorder. And that's just like the other ones, where you need to know the symptoms of the DSM-5 symptoms, the causes and treatment. The other 2 are going to cover, one of them's going to cover the article that you read that I wrote. And thank you for making your way through that dense piece of academic speak. But the article on schizophrenia, if you, with your GSIs, filled out that worksheet, you'd be good to go in answering that question. Because you're going to need to know the hypotheses, the research questions, a couple of the methods, what are the results, did they or did they not support the hypotheses, and what do the findings mean, what's the limitation. Okay, this is just like the question that was asked for the Sherry Johnson article on bipolar disorder, except now the article's on schizophrenia. Then the third essay is going to be a fictional case that I'll make up that has something to do with the insanity defenses that we talked about, competency to stand trial. So in order to succeed on that essay question, you're going to need to know things like the definitions of insanity, the insanity plea, like the American Law Institute, not knowing right from wrong, all those, the McNaughton rule, those sorts of things. You need to know what competence to stand trial is. You need to know what happens with people if they're guilty but mentally ill or not guilty by reason of insanity. Those are the kind of things that are going to be covered in that essay. So you can strategically plan to choose 2 of them and not even study the third, but those are your choices, okay? So here are a couple of sample multiple choices here with Erica and Janelle to act out in a dramatic fashion the correct answer. You might be wondering, why don't I just put that on the slides? Why? Because it's just much more fun, isn't it, to see this? Okay, so here's the first one from schizophrenia, asking about the symptom of flat affect, and what does that refer to? What do we think here? Ladies? Correct. All right, here we go. All right, our next one, here it is. This one covers chapter 16, dealing with somebody being incompetent to stand trial. What happens to them? They're released, they're treated and released. Oh, nice! The spin move! Okay. See, isn't this much more fun? Okay. And, okay, here's the next one. I wish we had some music. All right. Which of the following has been shown to be promising treatment for conduct disorders? Medication, covert desensitization, parent management, juvenile justice programs. Okay, nice! There it is. It is C. Right, okay. That's what Erica talked about in her lecture. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, a quote for the day. We haven't had one of these in a while, and this will be our last opportunity for one, so here it is, our parting quote for the day. If at first you don't succeed, skydiving is good. Okay. Yeah. So now, what I want to cover here is what to remember across the course of the semester, in no particular order here. And this isn't for your exam, but this is the things that I know after our exam on Thursday, you'll probably forget all of that. So here are the things that I'd like you to remember, ideally, after our class is over. So first, stigma. Mental illness remains one of the most stigmatizing things that we deal with, particularly in the United States, but it's true worldwide. And as we started this semester, remember, we're talking about people. People with mental illness are people first and always. They're not defined by having a mental illness. In fact, many people are all the more courageous for having a mental illness. And so stigma associated with mental illness comes from a lot of myths and beliefs that people have that usually aren't true about mental illness. And I hope over the course of this semester, some of the things that you once held to be sacrosanct or true about mental illness are no longer true, and that you may hold a little less stigma about mental illness as you go forward. Another thing I want you to remember, like the spokes on a wheel, which is not the greatest metaphor, but I'm going to be traversing in many metaphors today, there are multiple causes for most disorders. So is it genes or the environment? Wrong question, it's both. Is it their early environment? Is it the way they were raised? Did something bad, some traumatic event happen, or something wrong with their brain? Both. There are multiple causes for almost all the disorders that we talked about. And that's why our book went through in a gross amount of detail about neurological factors, genetic factors, cognitive behavioral factors, environmental factors. All of these things contribute as the causes for the mental disorders we talked about this semester and the ones that we did. And the exciting part of that is that it opens up all sorts of potential treatment avenues. So having all of these potential mechanisms or causes means there's lots of different ways that we should be able to intervene in helping people with different mental disorders and mental illnesses lead a better and less distressing life. You guys read a couple of research articles here, and then the whole book is based on research. And what I hope you'll remember is to actually take a very critical eye towards research. Remember way back when we talked about correlation doesn't imply causation, but when you read the bite-sized science that pops up in the popular press and media, oftentimes you will get the wrong idea, thinking that we found a cause when really it's just a correlation. So take your critical thinking skills and apply them when you read about science having to do with mental disorders and mental illness, long after you've left this class. And don't be afraid to correct people when they mistakenly tell you something has been identified as a cause, or we know this will fix XYZ disorder if they're really just telling you about a correlation. Jump in there and set them straight. Another thing, remember, dissociative identity disorder is not the same thing as schizophrenia, even though It's used as an adjective, schizophrenia that is, or so schizophrenic, and it's misused as an adjective. It's demeaning to people who have this illness, but it's also really referring to dissociative identity disorder, what we used to call multiple personality disorder. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde has nothing to do with schizophrenia. Frankly, it has nothing to do with dissociative identity disorder, a disorder we didn't really cover. But yet people make this mistake all the time. But you, I hope, will not make this mistake. And if somebody uses this as an adjective, schizophrenia, that's I'm so schizophrenic today, I can't decide what to do, you can jump in and correct them and say, A, you don't have schizophrenia, knock it off, and B, you're misusing the term wrong, you just look silly. Stop it. Okay. So what else to remember? Well, here's some things, those of you that want to go on maybe in a career in psychology and the medical school, the law, whatever you want to do, here's some things that we need to know more about. So culture makes a difference, and we need to understand more about how culture is influencing the ways in which symptoms appear, and most importantly, the way they're treated and stigmatized or not across many different cultures around the world. We need to understand culture better than we currently do. We need people like Erica, who does this in her own research, to understand how culture influences mental illness. Also, another thing that Erica does, I'm just going with you today, Erica, is we need to understand more about socioeconomic status, about poverty, and how that influences mental illness. We know it's not good. I mean, that common sense tells us it's not good. But given that it's not good, and given that so many people, particularly in the United States and increasingly around the world, are living in poverty, more now than ever before, we live in kind of a bifurcated society where we have a bunch of people who have and a bunch of people who have not. And the have-nots are more likely to disproportionately experience mental illness, and yet they're the ones least likely to get treatment. So we need to not only understand that SES, low SES in particular, and poverty is bad for mental illness, but we need to develop better ways of intervening. We need to reach out to people who don't have the resources to come and pay for personal psychotherapy, or that don't have the transportation available to them to get to a community mental health center that will then turn them away because they're too busy. Maybe we need to harness mobile technology a little bit better so that we can reach more people. We need to come up with clear ways to affect a sadly increasing percentage of the population that doesn't have the means to receive help. We also need to know more about gender. We've kind of talked about this, and we've done some fancy hand-waving about it throughout the course of the semester. Oh, depression is 2 times as common among women as it is men. Oh, really? That's interesting. Why? Oh, well, we don't really know. We have some interesting theories, but we don't really know why. Oh, well, should we treat depression differently for men and women? Oh, that's a good question, but we don't really know. So there are lots of questions about gender that have yet to be addressed. The differences between men and women, between girls and boys. Autism, ADHD, far more common among boys than girls. Oh, really? Well, why is it? Oh, well, we don't really know. Well, should our treatments be different? Or what about girls with ADHD? We're just beginning to answer those questions. And then another thing I want you to try to remember is that genes influence our brain, and our brain influences when our genes turn on, and both of these things together influence behavior in a complicated way that we're just now developing the tools to fully figure out. And then our behavior in turn affects which genes are expressed and how our brains develop over the course of development, not just in childhood and early adulthood, but through the lifespan. So don't think of the brain as influencing our behavior as a one-way street. Our behavior can influence our brain, which can in turn influence our genes just as easily as our genes will influence the way our brain develops and then influence our behavior. And then again, just to hit this a little bit harder, all of these things, our brain, our behavior, are influenced by culture, by social support, by the people that we have around us, by our economic means, by gender. All of these things interact in a complicated fashion. Next, work with a good team. So Mike is not here today, but Janelle and Erica have been indispensable not only in teaching you in section, as you all have got to experience firsthand, but in helping pull off our whole class here. I wouldn't be able to do this if it wasn't for all the GSIs. So those of you in Mike's section, if you want to do a funny little experiment, I recommend that you go up to him tomorrow and just give him a hug and see what he does. That'll be a nice psychological experiment. If not, a hug, tell him thank you, and join me now in thanking Erica and Janelle. You can also give them a hug after class. Also, keep your eye on the ball. And for me, I mean this literally. For those of you in the front may notice I have a black eye, and that's because I played tennis over Thanksgiving and took one right to the eye. For you, I mean that metaphorically. And what I mean is, as you pursue your careers, even if they're not in psychology, whatever it is, keep your eye focused on the goal that you have in mind. Don't look away, because the ball, I'm going to stretch this metaphor beyond believable limits here in a minute, may hit you when you least expect it, and then you may miss it and not have the opportunity to go after it. So stay true to your goals. And even if you don't go on in psychology, you all can make a difference in the lives of people with mental illness by hopefully knowing more about mental illness now than you did before you took this class, certainly. And that you can hopefully be somewhat inspired to at the very least, show some sensitivity and understanding to those around you, to yourself, to family members who have mental illness, and know more about it, and not be as judgmental, not be as harsh, not be as critical, but to be a little bit more patient, a little bit more sensitive and kind. But for those of you who do want to go into psychology, I've talked to a number of you during office hours about what are the possible career choices. There are oodles of them, and there's lots of questions to be answered. There's lots of needs for developing better interventions in cognitive behavior therapy, which we've heard about over and over again. But the truth is, cognitive behavior therapy doesn't help everybody, but it's the best that we have to offer. Medication is a rather blunt instrument that doesn't help everybody, and it has lots of side effects. We need to do better for as many as 40% of the people in the United States who have or will have some encounter with mental illness during their lives. And education, if you want to teach other people, great. Being a teacher is a great career, but even if you're not a formal teacher, you can just do a little course correction when people say insensitive things about mental illness, or say something that's blatantly wrong, because you know now how to correct them, and do so in a sensitive and kind way, not a mean sort of a way. So final comments then, and we're going to have to do our class evaluation. So thank you all for a terrific semester. Of all the classes I've had, you've been one of them. And another final quote, isn't it? No. You have been a terrific class. You've been engaged and asked terrific questions throughout the course of the semester. Many of you have come to my office hours. And for those of you who didn't come to my office hours, please feel free to do so. Next semester I have office hours. I'm always around. Email me. Don't be afraid. For those of you who have come to my office hours, I think you found that it's not been an altogether unpleasant experience. So I welcome you to come and chat anytime. And thanks for completing these course evaluations. I know many of you are used to doing this over and over and over again. Janelle and Erica will hand these out and they'll collect them. But these are very valuable to me. It's not something that we're just required to do, but I read them carefully and I make improvements, I hope improvements, to the class based on your feedback. So thank you for taking the time to do that. And I'll see you here on Thursday. Why? Because everyone's here on Thursday, right? Okay. Thanks, everybody.